Hello and welcome to Fur, Fins, and Feathers. This is our 77th show, and we are honored to have two special guests who are very important to 4-H. Welcome, ladies. It's a pleasure to have you. You are?
I am Cynthia Bushey. I am a 4-H extension educator for Norfolk and Bristol counties here in Massachusetts.
And you are?
I am Cindi Muller. I am the leader for the Cottontail 4-H Club out of Norfolk County.
Very, very good. You are both very active in breed clubs and in different types of clubs and organizations and everything. Tell us about your organization.
So as the 4-H extension educator for these counties, I am the professional staff that works with the volunteers and youth members in the 4-H program. So I work with folks like Cindi, who is a club leader in the county, and I also work with schools and outside organizations to develop positive youth development programming for 4-H in our area, and I work with other professional staff across the state of Massachusetts to create educational programming for youth.
What is 4-H?
So 4-H is a national positive youth development program. It got its start in 1902, so it's been around a while in Ohio, and then it really expanded in 1914 when the land grant universities came into being. And so every state has a 4-H program through the United States Department of Agriculture, and it is linked to their land grant university, or one of their land grant universities. So here in Massachusetts, our land grant university is UMass Amherst. So our program runs under the umbrella of UMass Extension at UMass Amherst.
Okay. Are there programs throughout the state?
There are programs throughout the state. So as I mentioned, there's programming available. What I love about 4-H, so I was an educator. I've been an educator in K-12 public education and also in academic support at the college level. And what drew me to this position is what has drawn a lot of people. As I talk to folks, I get so excited. There's something magic about the clover, the 4-H's.
What do the 4-H, what do symbolize?
Sure, so the 4-H's stand for head, heart, hands, and health. So this positive youth development program is really about educating the whole child and really encouraging and empowering youth to solve problems, to take on challenges, and to really grow and develop according to their own timeline. There isn't pressure from the outside. There's challenge and support in this program, whether it's through clubs like Cindy's Rabbit Club, or through other programs that are offered at the state level. For example, we have a career exploration series right now that gets youth connected with all kinds of folks doing all kinds of exciting things out in the world, so they can kind of filter through what is available to them. And we also have a lot of leadership opportunities for kids, and we really also focus on community service. So all of those things together come together and provide this opportunity for kids to select a project and really dive into it and explore and learn and grow. A really important piece of 4-H is learning by doing. It's hands-on learning. So it's exploring passions in a way that they can try things out, they can fail, they can pick themselves back up again. It is a low-risk way to explore and
wonderful learning opportunities.
Everywhere, yes, across all kinds of domains. So when 4-H started, it was started in agriculture, so our roots are in agriculture, and it was started because folks were finding that farmers weren't really being innovative, but the youth were so curious and innovative. So that for over 100 years, that one thread has really stayed with 4-H, that we really respect individual kids and their abilities to explore and innovate.
What ages do you participate?
Sure.
Can the kids participate in?
Kids can get started as clover buds at age 5. So 5 through 7 are clover buds. And clover buds is an opportunity for kids to get exposed to the programs, be included in club work and other programs. It's a non-competitive level. And then from ages 8 through 19, they're able to participate more completely, and that allows them to actually involve themselves in competitions within their project areas and things like that. So clover buds get to participate, but we value that exploration and not really putting them at the competitive level at that age.
And once they age out, they can become leaders.
Absolutely, absolutely. And we encourage that, and we love the alumni to come back and be leaders.
And share all that they've accomplished.
Absolutely. And 4-H is really, there are a couple of things that we really emphasize across all programs. One is record keeping. So there are some things that we really encourage the kids to keep track of when the youth members participate in their projects. We have a system for them to record their goals, talk about what they've done to reach their goals. So if they have an animal project and they're trying to, and Cindi might be able to talk a little bit more specifically about an example, they're able to keep track if there are expenses related to their project or a timeline, and it gives them an opportunity to reflect on how well they met their goals and what they might try next time, because we're in it for the long game. We really want to see the youth develop and grow. And then the other opportunity that we offer annually are visual presentations, because public speaking is such a key part.
It's definitely one of my favorite aspects of it.
Yes.
I strongly encourage visual presentations. My kids, I'm not going to say they dread it. I say they look at it with a little apprehension. Public speaking is hard, and it's a life skill, and an important life skill, and it's one of my favorite aspects of 4-H. I get those kids up from age 5 all the way up. You're going to go up, and even if you just present in front of the kids that you know in our club, that's okay. Just give me something. Stand up, get used to looking at all those faces looking at you, and talk about something that means something to you. It doesn't have to be what we're doing in club. Pick something completely unrelated that interests you. My kids this year, I saw this past weekend, stop motion animation and the domestication of cats. I had no idea that one of these kids was interested in stop motion animation. It was fabulous to see her get up there, and she joined when she was a clover, and this was her first time presenting in front of the club. And she got up and she did it, and she was so proud of herself, and I was proud of her. Couldn't have asked her any better.
I bet she did a nice job.
She did a wonderful job, actually.
They do an amazing
and she's already
job.
looking for it. And every year it's like, this is great. I'm so proud of you. How do you feel? I feel good. That's wonderful. I want you to feel good about what you've accomplished today.
That's a very positive affirmation.
Yes.
Speaking of positive affirmations, I'm looking at this delightful little rabbit. Talk about your club.
My club is primarily rabbits and poultry. The kids start ranging between ages 5 and 18. Most of our 5-year-olds have actually grown up now. We don't really currently have clovers, but we did. And my older kids, the 18-year-olds, you talk about leadership, I asked them to take on a junior leadership role within the club. Teach the younger ones what you know. So we might have them buddy up with a younger kid and say, listen, take them under your wing, show them, walk with them, interact with them. And they do a great job, and the little ones thrive because they have an older mentor looking right there, and that's their buddy, and they're going to go with that buddy and going to learn. So we primarily, like I said, do rabbits and poultry. For example, this past weekend, we talked about the lionhead rabbit. I had one of my 4-H kids, one of the kids got up and had her very own station, and she talked to everybody who came along to her station about what that breed is, what's wonderful about that breed, what everybody should know about that breed. And she's talking one-on-one, sometimes with a small group, sometimes with a little bit bigger group, but it's getting her out. She's talking. She's a very shy kid, very, very shy. And for her to get up and start talking about something she's passionate about, that's great. And then they moved on to the next place where they built a garden. They planted seeds for their animals at home, planting pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds. And then they went on to another station where one of my parents was good enough to contribute some time and energy and made a giant poster board of a rabbit's body and said, what are the different party parts of this rabbit? Can you name them? How well do you know them? Let me tell you, it was hard. Some of the adults had trouble with this thing.
I might, yeah.
And then they came into around one more time and they got to work on how do you handle and care for chicks and ducklings. So I brought in some chicks and ducklings for them. They handled them. They talked about how do you know which one is a male versus a female duck. Not as easy as it sounds when they all look the same. You know, what am I looking for? What should I be learning? How do I take care of them so
Do
that they
you
live?
own ducks and
I do.
fowl, waterfowl?
I do. I have ducks, geese, I have turkeys, I have chickens, and I will bring them in and have my kids work with them, learn about them. Actually, a lot of the kids have gotten, especially during the years of COVID, a lot of the families took on owning chickens because it was something they'd always thought about doing but hadn't actually made that progression to do. It's like, well, we've been learning about it, let's try it. So now what do we do? How do we take care of them? What do we do with them? How do we get the best life for our chicken? So that
How many members do you have in your
I
club?
believe currently we have about maybe 16. I'm not 100% certain about that.
Nice number.
Yeah, it's a nice number. And the parents are really great. They stay for the meetings. I ask them to because I like them to know what we're talking about. I like them to be involved. And the parents are generally very receptive to that. Sometimes they might carpool with another parent, so there's always somebody there in case the child needs something, that there's somebody there that they feel comfortable they can go to. But my families all know they can reach me at any time, even when we're not meeting. So I get emails from them and text messages. I have a question about this, or I'm concerned about that, or what do you think about this? Can we do this at the next meeting? And I'm always open to those suggestions and ideas coming from the families and the kids. So I want to go where their interests are.
And you've been a leader for how long?
I probably about 4 or 5 years now. I've been involved with 4-H for about 10. I had to go back and think about it. My daughter was about 11 when we joined. I just kind of never left.
And I have to say, can I jump in and say?
Oh, I want you to.
So Cindy's story is so common. I'm new to 4-H. I'm not new to youth development or education, but I am new to 4-H and it's magic, if you believe in that. So many leaders come when their kids start and then they stay because they love it so much. And I want to throw out there to everybody, there is something for everyone in 4-H because it's meant for families, it's meant for communities. And if you have a passion, bring it on over because we're looking for that. We're looking for adults who are passionate about what they do and
who want to share their
and
talents.
want to share it. And that may be in the form of a club leader like Cindi, and it may be, I've got this talent and skill, I can't really commit to being a club leader, but can I help? Can I volunteer? Can I connect with youth who also love this quirky little thing I learned how to do in the pandemic? And we welcome that.
Yeah.
We welcome that because something that's very special about 4-H is that sense of community and sort of the fluidity of working together on things.
Are there leaders in every county in Massachusetts?
There are leaders in every county in Massachusetts across all kinds of project areas. Animal science, as you know, is very big and near and dear to your heart here on Fur, Fins, and Feathers. So we have a huge animal science program, which includes livestock and dogs and rabbits and poultry, goats, swine. I don't think we have llamas. I think we almost had a club. So llama lovers out there, bring it.
I just had somebody on the show. We'll rope him in.
Yes, please, give me his contact info. But then we also have other areas where folks,
Such as what?
such as some people really focus on community service or civic engagement. We have a large interest in science, technology, engineering, and math now. And then we also have, it's basically anything you can imagine that you're passionate about, you can do. Acting, singing, sewing, felting. A lot of times the projects overlap. So if there is someone in a sheep club they may also do a felting project and create products from the wool of the sheep. So we are all about encouraging youth to belong to as many projects as they can take into their life, and also take advantage of these other programs that are available across the state. We had a Safe at Home program so that youth who are 10 to 12, who might just be starting to be allowed to stay home alone, could have some training and some practice on what they needed to do. So we have programs like that that are offered across the state as well, for youth to participate in, even when they have a primary interest in a primary project.
You know, I'm looking at this from my local area here, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of activity currently. There was, and I'd like to see a resurgence.
Did you hear that? We want to see a resurgence.
So how do people get involved?
So I gave a QR code and a link to our website, which I understand is on the screen.
Yes, it is.
Yes. So please reach out if you're interested in learning more, and if you fill out that form, I'll get back to you. There's also information on the website to check out to get involved. What happened, Brett, is it's bittersweet. Like everything in the pandemic, 4-H faced challenges. We're a hands-on learning organization. Yes. And for clubs like Cindy's, they found ways to continue to meet via Zoom. Technology is wonderful that way. But for many, and I don't want to speak for you, but it's not the same.
It's not the same. And the kids need to put their hands on it. They need to. So we did a couple of very socially distanced moot projects. So we took a family that I was friendly with who wanted to donate some time. And she's a nature forager, and she was a leader, but she didn't have time anymore. She said, how about I take your group and we go on a trip through the woods, fully masked, fully separated. I mean, we did, and we find ways to sort of stay connected. And it was hard. But I have noticed that because, like you said, there aren't clubs everywhere, but we'd love to see them everywhere. If I have a kid that comes from far away and still wants to be in my club, I'll open my doors to her. I'm not going to turn a child away who wants to be. I actually have a kid in my club who lives in Bristol County, who's not from, Norfolk, but comes out to, comes from Bristol to Norfolk. I also have kids from Worcester County that travel out to Norfolk County for the meetings. So they will come wherever they can find a meeting that meets their interest. And it's got to keep the doors open. Hopefully there'll be more clubs.
Yes, and I will say there's huge interest. I get outreach from families every day.
And I'm sure this will generate some.
Yes.
I hope so.
And what we're trying to do is bring those families together. So in April, I'll be hosting an info session to bring those families together and find ways for adults and youth to come together in ways that make sense, and maybe put together some clubs out of that to bring the youth together. The silver lining for the pandemic is, all those folks baking bread and doing all of the other things and kind of discovering what it is, or rediscovering what it is that they are truly passionate about and they love to spend their time on. That is what I'm inviting you all to bring and share with the youth, because it's wonderful to get connected with a mentor who knows a lot of stuff and is just super excited about what they know.
This offers so much for kids to learn, so many things, activities and things.
It really does.
It's an amazing opportunity.
It gives them so much chance to own how much they know. My kids are going to the Norfolk Public Library in April. They're going to share their animals and their knowledge. They're going to stand up by themselves. Parents are going to stay in the background. They're just there to help and show what they know to the kids that are coming to visit.
I, as a library trustee, former library trustee, I've worked with Norfolk. What a lovely library.
It is a beautiful little library, and there are people there that run it are very sweet, and they're very opening. And we've been doing library visits. We've done Norfolk Library. We used to go to the Attleboro Library and the North Attleboro Libraries as well. Good. The people there are wonderful. The librarians are amazing, and it's great that we are now invited back now that COVID has calmed down a little bit, and the kids are allowed to come back in with the animals and interact with other people again, which is big.
I have a question for the two of you. As I approach my 67th year, are there opportunities for people like mentors to give back to the community through 4-H. How can that happen?
Absolutely. Reach out again to your area educator. So if you're watching from a state outside of Massachusetts, near or far, every state has an extension office with 4-H educators. So no matter where you are, reach out and locate your land-grant university that's attached to your 4-H program. And those educators will get you connected with opportunities. And a lot of it is, it's not just the youth who innovate. We also can innovate. 67 years, you've got so much experience. So bring it, Brian, and help us innovate and find new ways to
But the
connect.
intergenerational learning
Absolutely.
It's
is so
amazing.
important.
Very
It's
much so.
amazing, yes.
And I think during the pandemic, we've kind of distanced ourselves, and we need to close that gap.
Yeah. There's so much knowledge. My club is grateful and very lucky. We have some judges that have come out and talked to the kids, and some of them are on the older side, and the kids love them. I mean, when they see them at the shows, they go running over to say hi, and he remembers them, and he comes out and talks to them as well, and he remembers. He even very proudly wears his very own club T-shirt. So he remembers and he mentors. And a lot of the mentors that if my kids get into a certain breed, I want to hook them up with those breeders, those people that know more about that breed than anybody else I know. Those are the people. Absolutely, mentors are crucial to the kids. They make them go forward. They make them stay interested. They go, oh, this person taught me that. I didn't know that. That's amazing. Guess what I can now show you? And they pass it along.
Talk about your rabbit.
All right, so this is Petal. Petal is a Polish. She is 1 year old. She's fully grown. She is a lilac color, which is actually the color of her variety, which is the newest variety color that's been accepted by the ARBA. And she's one of my favorite breeds for kids, actually, just personally, because they're a very calm-natured rabbit as a general rule. There's some great breeds out there, and about 50 different rabbit breeds for kids to choose from when they do rabbits. And it's honestly, I think there's amazing things about each breed. I mean, they're all wonderful for different reasons. But one of the things I love about the Polish breed is that they are small and they're handleable. And for my little kids in the 4-H club, I always say little bunnies for little hands. So it's super easy for them to pick them up and handle them. And when they do
That would be an ideal breed for a small child.
absolutely, when they do showmanship, this is easy for them. They can pick up the rabbit. They can carry the rabbit to the table. They can show the judge everything they need to because they can handle this rabbit on their own. And it's easy. But that being said, I do know a 5-year-old whose favorite rabbit is a checker giant, which is a rabbit that's about this big. And so you never know what that rabbit is that child's going to pick. But Petal is my girl, and I happen to love her, and I'm partial to the breed.
So I don't get to keep her.
No, I'm afraid not. I'd probably have to fight you down for her. She's my girl. But, maybe in another year we'll have a little couple of Petal babies and we'll be good. But I do love the way that she puts up with anything my kids do with her. And so she goes out and she goes to 4-H meetings and she...
Cynthia, do you get to travel around the state?
I do. Primarily in Norfolk and Bristol counties. I love to attend club meetings, and also I've been in my role for not quite a year actually here. So I'm getting to know the area and getting to know all of the opportunities that are available to clubs and youth in the area. So I have been traveling around. I attended a horse judging at Norfolk Aggie in the fall. A lot of our events still have been virtual this year, but I have attended dog club meetings and the Cottontail Club meeting. So I do get to travel around. And then, of course, in collaborating with other educators across the state. I've been out to Plymouth and out to Hadley and up to Newton, and that's where our offices are located around the state.
As our readership expands, I am getting inquiries from the Cape and from the islands. Is there are there 4-H activities out there?
Yeah, there are. I have a friend who has a club actually out in the Plymouth area, I believe. I think she's out in Carver or Plymouth actually, and runs a club very much like mine, but she's down that way. So there are definitely clubs down there.
Okay, but what about the islands and out to, I'm talking beyond to the Cape, like beyond Hyannis in that area?
Barnstable County does have an educator, And they do have a handful of clubs right now, I think 6 or 7 clubs out in Barnstable County. The islands, I'm not certain right now. I would have to check on that. But if there are any active
But
clubs
those resources are available
they
for those
are
kids.
available. They absolutely are. Yes.
What how would you go about, well, you've told me, but how can kids learn even more about, are there books available
For 4-H?
for 4-H, to read about 4-H?
I think a great place to start is with the UMass Amherst 4-H website and the National 4-H website.
Okay.
Because those provide links to lots of different resources out
Okay,
there.
that's what I was asking.
Yeah,
now.
and there's a lot of there are a lot of resources available through you can find them on the National 4-H website that contain informational materials on particular project areas. And often that's a resource for club leaders. So often adults will say, my child really wants to do this, but I don't know anything about, my child wants to do a goat club. I don't know anything about goats. I would do a club, but I don't know anything. We have resources. We have resources and
That's
supports.
what I was asking, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of resources and supports. We also, it is really important to understand that because we're part of UMass Extension, we have access to all kinds of researchers and experts at UMass Amherst. So folks who are...
One was on our show,
Oh.
Dr. Corella.
Yes, who is now the equine director?
Yes, he's the director of the equine program.
Over at UMass Amherst.
Yes.
So across animal science, horticulture, entomology, we have all kinds of experts across the state that we can get youth connected to support their growing interests.
And they have a very, very strong equine program at UMass Amherst, don't they?
They do.
Very interesting. So what else would you like to tell us about your rabbit club?
Oh, well, I mean, one of the best things I've thought is, the kids own what they know, right? And
Do they each have a rabbit?
No, and so here's the thing. I don't require my kids to own a rabbit or a chicken. I expect them to have an interest in what a rabbit and a chicken might be interested in. They don't need to own the animal. I don't expect every family to be able to afford or have the setup or the time for an animal. But I often say, that's okay. Join the club anyway. Learn. Come in and learn about it. See if it fits your lifestyle. And if it doesn't, that's okay. Maybe you just really want to learn about it and come and spend time in the club. And I will bring rabbits and I will bring the chickens and I will make sure that your child gets lots of hands-on time with my bunnies and my chickens and my geese and whatever I bring in. And the kids that do bring in their animals, they share.
And learn.
Yeah, they share their animals with each other. So they said, look, I have a new family that recently joined my club this year. And the little sister was with us this weekend. And so she really wanted to hold a bunny. Family doesn't own a bunny yet. So I turned to one of my older kids and I said, can you mind if the little one gets to hold the bunny? She says, absolutely. She gets up, she got the bunny, she put it in her hand, showed her how to hold it properly, and just let her sit there and enjoy it. Sometimes just the act of holding the rabbit is calming and soothing, and just let the kids relax and go into it. My big thing when I talk to parents always, and sometimes, like you said, you get these emails, what do? I get emails from parents who find me on the website because the leader's names and information is on there, and they can always contact us and say, what do you think? Is this a good match? I said, you know what? Tell me about your child. Tell me what your child's interests are. Because I always say to parents, find the club that matches your child's interest. That's the most important thing you can do. If it's cats, if it's dogs, if it's horses, if it's woodworking, if it's something, that's what really matters. If they're not interested in it, they're not going to get the most they can out of it. Find their interest, go with the interest, explore it with them. And if you come and you join my club for a year, and sometimes I say, come to a meeting or two, see how it feels for you, see if they like it before you make a full commitment. Otherwise, sometimes they commit for a year and go, this is great, we loved it, but it's not quite right. And I said, that's great. I'm glad that you enjoyed your time here.
But
Let
you
me help you
tried.
find something that does help you.
And I'm being told that our half hour is up.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
It went by quickly. And you were
sure
both
did.
wonderful lovely guest, and I'd like to have you come back and talk more.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Brian.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.
Very good. Well, thank you for being on.